Yeah, we're out here on the St. Lawrence. We're doing a little testing with the Fish Reveal transducer. And the way you can tell, we got Fish Reveal. The top of this screen, it says AIHD3-1FR. Okay, that's Fish Reveal. So right now we're on downscan. Our downscan frequency is 700 kilohertz. Okay, you can see that it's actually pretty sharp. If we start adjusting this, we change it to palette number 9. Okay, I personally find that's the best for me, but you know, it might be different for you. If you're ever curious what frequency you're running, if you look at the bottom left corner here, it tells you your frequency. 700 kilohertz chirp. Okay, so that's your down scan. You can see that we're actually in a very hard bottom here. St. Lawrence River has a lot of rock, so you can see the different rock layers through there, different densities of the rocks. Okay, not a lot else here other than a few rocks that pop up and ledges and stuff. So if we go to and change our frequency to 1200 or 1.2 megahertz. Okay, so now you'll notice what happened since we get rid of the menu here. The color got darker. Okay, anytime you go to these higher frequencies, the return signal is a little bit less because of the frequency change. Okay, so you can see now, we might have to move the boat a little bit, but you can see the color palette change, and it actually is a little bit crisper on your bottom line. You can see the bottom definition is a lot better now. Okay, so now we'll do, we'll idle around a little bit and maybe find some more structure that you can see a little bit better. Okay, so the same effect of this color change on the higher frequency happens also on the side imaging. Okay, so if you go to Sidescan page, okay, this is the Fish Reveal setup. Okay, and we're on palette 5. We're on the high frequency, basically megahertz. Okay, chirp. Okay, and again, you can tell the same by down here. It's on auto scaling. We're in what, 67 feet of water right now. You can see we've got stuff in the water column right underneath of us. Most likely that is just noise, or there's actually, at this time of the year, there's a lot of floating debris in the river, and so that's what a lot of that is. But you can see we've got the dotted lines for the bottom layer. Okay, and there's basically no fish in this area, unfortunately. So let's change the frequency, and we're going to change the frequency from the megahertz to 455, which is a lot less. Obviously it's 455, which is the same frequency you had on the old all-in-one, or all-in-one 3-in-1. Okay, and what that is that the difference though is this is a chirp based sonar versus standard sonar. Okay, so you get a little bit crisper, a little bit better definition. Okay, so but again, it looks very similar, but you can see the color change. Okay, so if you're having trouble in the bright sun seeing something, you may want to switch to the lower frequency to get a brighter screen. That's what this boat owner runs. He likes the brighter screen. It's a little hard, again, when you get sun behind you in your back. This darker palette is a little harder to see. If we go and switch our color palette around to, say, the bright blues, you can see same thing. Blue, everything is the same. I think this is the color palette he runs, or something close to it. This is more the aquamarine one. Now the white one, again, it doesn't matter what frequency you're running. Now you have to remember that higher frequency gives you better detail but less distance. Lower frequency gives you much further distance out, and it also works in deeper water, but not quite as much detail. What we're going to do right now, we're going to take and drive around a little bit, and we're just going to graph the screen, and you can see some of the things that we see. Hopefully we can find some decent areas of this river. We're down at Messina end, which, to be honest, is not a lot of features, not like up in the lake region. The lakes. Oops, let me change this color palette. Well, that didn't take too long. All we did was idle about 20-30 feet, and now we're into some really interesting looking bottom here. These are all, this is all ledgy stuff, but it's layered ledge. This end of the river was basically dammed up years ago. And if you drive around, you can find old rock piles and such like that. So this is the side imaging. If we go and look, let's look at the down imaging. So the down scan, you can see how crisp that is. This is really my first look on the water with this transducer. I'm very happy with it, and I'll do some comparisons with the old non-HD version, but this HD version has some really good quality to it. So okay, so let me pick up speed a little bit. You can see we're coming into a little bit of a, I think we're coming up on near a small shoal up in 50, but you can see how the rock layers keep stepping up and up, and now we should drop. I think it's going to drop off a little bit here. Wouldn't swear to it. So that, again, that's in 1200 kilohertz, okay, or 1.2 megahertz. We flip over, let's look at it in 700 kilohertz. That's your low frequency, okay. So those are our options. So you can see the color change. The quality got a little bit crisper in some details, okay, but it's pretty much, I actually prefer the higher frequency. Okay. On the fish reveal options, unfortunately we're not on any fish, okay, but these are the settings we've got on the machine here. Sensitivity 89, color line at 76%, surface clarity medium, and I put it on the standard sonar palette, which is your palette 1, which is the default palette that you have. All right, so we're idling back to the ramp here, and we just found what looks like an old roadbed. You can see it here. Okay, it goes up, and again, as I mentioned earlier, this is a flooded area. But if you look at it, this is the new HD transducer from Lowrance, and this is the GT56 from Garmin. And personally, I like the detail of this. Now maybe the Garmin needs to be tuned, I'm not sure. This is out of the box tuning. If we switch the Lowrance to the megahertz frequency, okay, let's see what we get. See if we still get the same clarity. Yeah, we're still getting the same amount. Now, if you notice something, the Garmin is running on one frequency. Basically, their frequency is about a megahertz as well. You see we picked up the noise, okay? We didn't pick up noise when we're running 455, but we picked up the noise problem when we're both running this about the same frequency, okay? And this is sonar-induced noise from running two side imaging transducers, or two transducers running roughly the same frequency, okay? So the way to get rid of that is to obviously run one frequency like we did. So let's get rid of that, go back to 455, and now we should have our noise gone pretty much. Okay. So it's just starting to scroll up on the screen. You can see it's gone away. Oops. Okay. So let's just, for definition difference, okay, you can show the rock pile over here on the right. Okay, this is a rock pile. We're actually near a point coming into the launch here, okay? And then we come back over here, and this is the same rock pile. Much better detail, much better defined shadows. And what shadows are, it tells you how high everything is, okay? But we're still picking up, if you notice that we're still picking up just a little bit of electrical sonar noise. See the noise there? It's not as prevalent as in the megahertz range, but it still shows up some. That's pretty cool. Okay, we're coming back into the launch area. Panda launch. Okay, you can see the launch there. And so we're looking at the screen here, and there on the Garmin, you can see this image here about to go out of screen, whereas we've got the same thing over here on the Lowrance unit. Now, we should be coming up on the old bridge. There's the bridge right now. You see the bridge on your left-hand side? Okay, here it is on the Garmin. Now, he did tell me he did have someone who was a Garmin expert set it up, and he reset it back to default. So apparently you need to do some customization with the settings. I have no clue how to do it. This is pretty cool. This is an old suspension bridge that used to go across this area, and there's a big mess of metal down there, so it's probably the type of place you don't want to drop shot because you're going to lose your weight every cast. Okay, but see, we got, looks like we might have some fish over there, those green lines there, and we got some green in the pilings there too. So okay, so this ramp area, I mean, for years I've just driven through the thing, never even thought much of it. I'm back in the corner over here. There's a car down below. Today we discovered when we're doing some filming about the old bridge there. You know, it's kind of neat what you get at the ramp, which you don't usually think about. You know, you just think it's a ramp. Okay, so there's some more fish sitting over there on this shoreline here, and so I don't know if you can pan out. Yeah, there's the shore. So this fish reel really is pretty handy. It's showing stuff. This potential, you know, again, most likely it's some kind of fish. Is it what we're targeting? Probably not, but who knows? I mean, right now our speed is pretty slow. We're going maybe 2 miles an hour. I mean, we're in a no wake zone anyway, but side imaging speed really should be I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the screen here. It's kind of wild looking. It does not look like anything you normally see. It looks like a whole series of piles of dirt. That's what it looks like to me. And the reason it's dirt is you don't see a lot of individual rocks in it. Okay, you just see dirt. So that's probably piles of silt coming in because this is the intake area. And you notice as we get shallower, we start to pick up more noise. And we got the moon, a little bit of a planet over here, and we got a planet over here. So, I mean, basically those are, you'd think it might be a bait ball, but looking on this screen, I don't think it's a bait ball. I think it's just something on the bottom. So, all right. Well, wasn't able to get the, do the final at the ramp because it was quite late and had to pack up, and I had to drive back home. I didn't get home till 4:30 in the morning the next day. But what we're going to do is I'm going to eventually get my 3100 box installed on my boat here, which has a dual 12 Pros. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to film a lot more once I get a little bit more familiar with that unit. As I mentioned, that was the first time on the water that I'd done that. So what we're going to do, we'll do a lot more settings and stuff. So if you have any questions on this video, please put them in there, and I'll try to address them in the next video I'm going to do. Hopefully I can get this 3100 box installed and my Active Target HD Fish Reveal transducer on the stern within the next week or so. Hopefully, if the weather holds, we'll be able to do that. All right, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you can, please like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you.